All right, welcome in, guys, to this Saturday edition MPW Digital Extra here with you. Just before noon, we're all waiting on a final decision from one Lane Kiffin. But a lot of stuff's going on a little bit, so we thought it was a good time to check in. Won't be here overly long. Not an emergency podcast. That's not the right verbiage. I'm seeing that mentioned a few times on the stream. That's not where we are. But we did feel like with what was going on, it was worth kind of going through the day a little bit. So that's where we are right here. Chase Parham, Neal McCready. You are aware of us by now, or you would not be here. Um, Lane Kiffin, Keith Carter, going to meet this afternoon, and I do expect a public decision past that point. We have got multiple updates on the board at Rebels 24/7. Please join at Rebels 24/7. That would be fantastic. We appreciate that. No, Neil has not popped a Coors Banquet to the best of my knowledge so far this morning. Again,
Not
11:38 as we're hitting at this
the
point.
refrigerator is stocked with Coors though. I've got Coors. I've got some Ghost in the Machine. Got a lot of rain for Tyler.
Okay.
And I'm not gonna lie to you, it looks pretty good. But
Are you
I'm
thinking
a
about
little
popping one?
I'm a little nervous about popping one this early, and then just from a sheer physical health standpoint, I am eager to get my life back and get back in the gym in the next few days. If I'm totally honest with you.
Yeah, I did talk to one source today, and they answered the phone with um, "I love you, but I'm really tired of talking to you." And I was like, I feel that. That is well within what I expect at this point. Yeah.
More than
Um.
fair. And I mean, there's some people I've talked to that I am tired of talking to them. I love them.
So, all right, let's go through this a little bit. We're not going to spend a ton of time here, but I did feel like it was a good time to jump on and discuss. As we've been saying for the last week or so, you see the Venmo thing there. That's just if you want to do that. No pressure, no anything. But instead of super chat, it doesn't go to Google and the man and all that. If you do that, please put Venmo in all caps in the subject line of the chat with your question. We would appreciate that. Gives you max exposure, helps everybody out here. Okay, so we're going into the Saturday. Ole Miss is 11-1. They finished off Mississippi State 38-19. You can check out the MPW Digital post-game show presented by Realtree yesterday for tons of content, watch party, and more there. Getting into tonight, this kind of schedule of the day. So Ole Miss, Carter, Lane Kiffin, they're going to meet this afternoon. I have no reason not to expect resolution on Lane Kiffin's side today. I expect that to come out this evening. Every
Yeah.
bit of tea leaves is pointing toward LSU here, guys. Somebody asked in the thread earlier, is anyone optimistic regarding Ole Miss? And the answer is no.
No.
There are people who are holding out and going, look, until you know, you can't know, for lack of a better word. So I think that is a fair, valid thing because until the words come out of his mouth to relevant people, you are still stuck in that. But no, the optimism has sort of left. Anybody who says, "Hey, maybe he's staying," it's referring to him simply not having said that he is leaving yet. That is where we are right now. So again, Lane Kiffin stays, and we'll delete some content, and we'll just move on with our day, and we'll go, hell, I don't know, and we'll get our lives back at that point. But no one is necessarily
Well,
anticipating that right now.
that's what we'll get for making all this up.
Yeah, that's true. We deserve it. So I expect that to be the case. 6:30 tonight, Alabama and Auburn are going to kick off. And if Auburn wins the Iron Bowl, Ole Miss advances to the SEC championship game. We'll get into some specifics regarding why that matters here in a moment. But that's the schedule for today. That's where we are. We're going to get a Kiffin decision, in my opinion, and we're also going to watch Alabama and Auburn tonight. And Ole Miss could make its first SEC championship game appearance. Coach to be determined if the Tigers knock off the Crimson Tide. So to screw up all of our lives and make this as complicated as possible, I'm going to say that Auburn is like minus 800 tonight in this football game at this moment. That's kind of where I'm at.
I told you yesterday at the end of the MPW Digital postgame show before I made the trek from Davis Wade Stadium to Humphrey Coliseum to get in my car, actually Laura's car, to drive home, I told you Texas would win. Did I not?
You did.
I told you that Auburn would win. Did I not? It's done. Auburn's already won the game. I mean, they're rolling Toomer's corner as we speak. Because of course it is. How else did we really expect this 6-week saga to end with a neat little bow tie?
Not even a little bit. And that's about how long it's been. I think somebody texted me this morning. Actually, I know somebody texted me this morning who said 41 days, that we've been doing this for 41 days at this point. So that is 6 weeks, shy of 1 day.
Today is day 42.
This
started the day of the Ole Miss loss at Georgia.
The day started this morning around 9:15, I believe. Marty Smith, who is camped out in the Manning Center on the Ole Miss campus, he came to Oxford from Starkville after the game yesterday. He reported meeting this afternoon between Kiffin and Carter, which is true. And he reported that Kiffin had gone to his Saturday family session, did some yoga, and was then headed to the facility to begin prep on a hypothetical or potential Georgia matchup in the SEC championship game. That was what Marty Smith reported this morning regarding Lane Kiffin at that juncture. And I guess we'll start there, and then we'll get to the other news of the day. Is Ole Miss has a weird spot, and we're going to do this entire conversation from the standpoint of Lane Kiffin is going to LSU. I'm not going to put disclaimers in. I'm just telling you now, we're operating the conversation as he's LSU's new football coach, because if he's not, then none of this damn matters anyway. And I'm not even making this a podcast. You got to watch this on YouTube to see it today. So we're just talking completely if he takes the job, because if he doesn't, then again, none of this matters. So getting that out of the way now, kind of like the scene from A Few Good Men where Kevin Bacon comes in and goes, if you'll admit this, we'll admit this, and we'll all move on with our day and not waste a lot of time. So that's where we are as of right now. Deal? Neil? Good? Capiche?
Yeah, I mean,
are you copacetic with that?
I don't. I've been saying this for a while. And if I end up being, quote, wrong, end quote, I'll have so much company that it will be quite the party, right?
That's fine. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, just to finish that point, it's very quick. It's if Lane Kiffin were seriously considering staying, the list of things that would not have happened are it's incredibly long. He's obviously at this point planning to be the next head coach at LSU.
Okay. We were I have a source from earlier today that told me from the LSU side of things that they expected to have a meeting with Lane Kiffin, kind of a final conversation prior to that decision going public, and Lane told them that was unnecessary, that he did not need that conversation. LSU people taking that as a very much a positive for the Tigers, to the point that they have tentative plans on how to get the Kiffins to Baton Rouge, and they are currently still thinking those plans are in action. So an Ole Miss decision for Lane Kiffin would be quite the surprise for all logistics related to LSU moving forward as we're having this conversation. So,
yeah, I think that's true. I think an Ole Miss decision, a decision on Lane Kiffin's part to stay at Ole Miss would be a change of heart that would occur today, that would have to be communicated today, and frankly, Chase, I think based on what I've heard, probably would have to be executed today.
Yeah. So, in saying that, Ole Miss with an Auburn win, again, we're going to have the hypothetical conversation of if Auburn beats Alabama tonight, and if this comes to fruition, we will discuss moving forward. And that is that Ole Miss has a weird situation here. Obviously, Ole Miss has never been in the SEC championship game. You would be able to mark one of those things off your to-do list. And if you won the SEC championship game, I mean, you're only 2 results away from a bye in the college football playoff. You are an Auburn win over Alabama and a win over Georgia in the SEC championship game from a bye in the college football playoff, a top 4 seed. That would be guaranteed. So that's where you are. That's the stakes. That's the positive. Here's the issue, though, is that Lane Kiffin leaving and not coaching the SEC championship game, and it's my opinion that Lane is going to try to convince Keith Carter today to let him coach the SEC championship game. But if he doesn't coach the SEC championship game, it gives a data point to the committee. if you got, again, this is all hypothetical. If you played well, then okay, fine, whatever. Same team, great, whatever. You win or you play close. I don't think it matters. But in a world where you didn't play well against Georgia in the SEC championship game, it would give the committee a Jordan Travis type data point to potentially affect your seeding in a negative way come the selection committee. That is a concern. That is something that will have to be figured out at this juncture. So there's a world where you're just safer for Alabama to beat Auburn tonight, for Alabama to go play Georgia, and for you to be hosting a home game next time that the playoffs roll around, which is December 19th or December 20th. That is a viable option, and I would understand if somebody wanted to take the safer choice with that. Because, yes, if you win and Lane doesn't coach, you are putting into data points at that extent. Does Ole Miss entertain? Again, we're probably out above our skis a little here, or out over our skis a little here. In a world where Ole Miss is in that game, does Ole Miss consider allowing Lane to coach then before leaving to avoid the data point? I don't know. That's something Ole Miss would have to figure out at that juncture. Do you weigh the pros and cons of protecting that home game at worst against all odds, or do you just get him out of the building as soon as possible? And again, we're just kind of setting up what is going on throughout this Saturday. The whole goal here is to lay everything on the table and let you know where we are, and that's one of the main things that we're at with this at this point. Those are the conversations, the decisions that will be going on in that room today between the two of them, probably Chancellor Boyce, if he is choosing LSU at that point. That's where it is. And it's not Ole Miss getting left out. Ole Miss is in the playoff no matter what. It's, could you lose a home game by Lane not coaching in the SEC championship game and you getting blown out by Georgia? That's the question. Again, that is the only hypothetical part of this that is talking at that point. Again, I don't know. Just telling you that's where we are at that point. That would be the current LSU coach coaching Ole Miss in a playoff game. So, yeah. All right. That's where we are there. Or so not a playoff game, a conference championship game. Let me rephrase. You got any thoughts on that before I move on?
Nope, you've covered it.
All right, good. All right, here we go. The other thing today that we put up, we had an 11:18 a.m. update this morning. I think it's when it was. Maybe it was 11:08. Either way, sometime in the last hour, that Ole Miss will not have John Sumrall as its next head coach, should that be necessary to have a coach not named Lane Kiffin. We have been on top of this very well. We know a lot of people around John, and timing has been the conversation we've had from the very beginning. The conversation that we've put on the board, the conversation that we've continued to talk about has been about timing with Sumrall, with Auburn, and more specifically Florida. It is my opinion, and I'm pretty well sourced on this, is barring some really late hang-up, John Sumrall will be Florida's next head football coach. I feel very strongly about that, to the point of, if I were a Florida beat writer, I would probably be reporting it right now.
I'll even go stronger. I think John Sumrall is Florida's next football coach.
Yes. If he's Florida's next football coach, he's not Ole Miss's next football coach. It simply was too far down the road to be a relevant possibility at this juncture for Ole Miss. As we talked about, we've mentioned on the podcast, we've mentioned on the board, John did not want to get left without an SEC job at the end of the cycle. He preferred Ole Miss, but not to some huge extent where you were going to turn down Florida and get stuck at Tulane for another season to take that chance. And people say, well, why didn't Ole Miss just do this? You can't fire Lane Kiffin. You got to pay him $40-something million or whatever the hell it is. You cannot.
It's $36 million.
Yeah. And again, I see Ptolemy here. You're just wrong. He goes, he obviously preferred Florida because he would just wait. It's like you can't just wait past the deadline. It doesn't work.
Think about this from his perspective. You've got to. This is where you got to take the red and blue glasses away, and you've got to look at this from a perspective of a young coach with a young family. I don't know what John makes at Tulane. I think it's around $2 million. You're talking about a job that's going to pay at a minimum $7 million, probably closer to $9 million. It's life-changing money. He was coveted by Auburn. Auburn really screwed it up because that's what Auburn does. They screw things up, which is why they'll win tonight. Auburn screws things up. They went behind his back on some negotiation stuff. He killed it. But for him to kill it, he had to have a job. He has the Florida job. It's in the palm of his hand. He's way down the road. He can't run the risk. This is my opinion about his thinking, and I'm pretty informed on this. He can't run the risk of showing Florida even a little hesitation because Florida could pivot. And then Lane Kiffin decides, I can't do it. I can't leave. And now you're left with no job.
Because I think that real quick, Neil, I do think the one error in this, and I'll eat this very small bit of reporting error. I think even yesterday was too late. Like I think this has been too late for multiple days at this point. That people were holding out hope for this thread needle situation because, frankly, a lot of people wanted John Sumrall to be the coach, but that it simply has been too far down once Ole Miss got this deep into the week. Period. This is not about a 4-hour situation here whatsoever. It's just not. So, I mean, like Flippin says here, not a shot at y'all, but what would it take for y'all to report Kiffin is gone when he actually leaves? Because I can't guarantee he doesn't walk into his office one last time and go, I just can't bail on this damn playoff team.
Which is why John Sumrall can't wait on Ole Miss, which is why Keith Carter can't be truly actionable because you can't offer a job to someone right now when the job is filled. Now, I anticipate that within the next several hours, it won't be filled and you'll be able to offer it. But these negotiations don't happen. It's not like a fantasy football trade where you do it with your buddy over the phone. It takes time. It's agents, it's lawyers, it's contracts, it's stuff. It's days of stuff. John is way down the road with Florida. Way down the road. And it's a good job that he likes. Does he prefer Ole Miss? I think so. But we're talking about, I made this example, Chase, and I think it's a good one. You're in a restaurant. You prefer the ribeye. But you can have, there's a chance that you can't have the ribeye and that you could end up with a can of tuna. Or you can have a really nice bone-in strip. Now, you're hungry. Probably going to take the bone-in strip.
Mm-hmm. Real quick, let me run through a few of these. Thanks to Chastity for your Venmo chat. Appreciate you. Appreciate you giving us a question here. Assuming Lane Kiffin takes the LSU job, what assistants will he take with him? Some, for sure. I do not anticipate Pete Golding going. I do think there will at least I think Pete would prefer to stay, or I know Pete would prefer to stay. And if the new coach was willing to keep Pete as defensive coordinator, that would be a very easy decision for Pete Golding. Let's put it that way. You're not going to force Golding on a new coach, but then in a world where that's at all okay, Pete Golding wants to stay at Ole Miss, so that would not be somebody that would be there. Yeah, let me do that. I kind of forgot real quick on the chat thing. Ramey, thank you. I'll look for your question in a second. I'm sure it's back there. I will find that in 1 second. And I do need to change the chat functions. I will do that in 1 minute. I kind of forgot before we got going a little bit there. So, yes. Let's see. CC Bearcat, it was mentioned yesterday Kiffin was frustrated with the pursuit of Sumrall. Is it possible Kiffin told him on the phone he might stay so he might pivot off of Ole Miss? Or am I just upset? You're probably a little upset, but I don't think Lane also gave him any clear indication in any direction. So, I mean, it wasn't, I don't think it, per multiple sources, it was not an illuminating phone call. Let's put it that way, where you could make any actionable decision from that point. So,
yeah, I think that's fair.
I think that would be how I put that. Ramey, I know you sent something. Can you send it again? Because I'm having a hard time moving back up the chat. So whatever you sent, can you send it again? Appreciate you, as always, there. I do thank you for that, but I can't find it at the moment. And then Kyle, thanks for the super chat, says when Auburn wins, does DeBoer leave? I know nothing about that. Do you have a guess?
I've talked to 2 or 3 people about other things, and that's come up. And the consensus opinion is that that's not really accurate. That it's not a serious thing, at least on DeBoer's end. I suppose that if they were to lose tonight, there's a world where his staff begins to fall apart a little, and maybe he looks at this and goes, "This Alabama thing is crazy. I'll move on to Penn State." But that doesn't appear to be the betting favorite. And again, this is one of those things I got to say this because I don't want to come across like I'm some expert. But I've talked to a lot of people about Lane Kiffin. I've talked to a lot of people about John Sumrall, a lot of people about other people, Alex Golish, just different people. Where the other jobs come up because these jobs are intertwined in so many ways. So, if you have a conversation about the Ole Miss job, for example, you end up talking about the Florida job, the LSU job. You end up talking about the Arkansas job. You end up sometimes hearing about other jobs. You end up hearing things like I learned a lot about Matt Campbell this week, just totally random. But I don't want to pretend that I'm some expert who's working all these jobs. I'm not. I'm working one story. I'm working the story that I get paid to work.
And Matt Campbell has no experience in the South and a staff that doesn't really, which is why he's not popped up on more of these searches.
I think Matt Campbell's one of those rare people that's in a place that he really likes. It fits his DNA. He likes it there. He's been successful. He's established. He's happy. I don't really think he's looking to leave. I think multiple schools have kind of kicked the tires on him. Arkansas really kicked them, I believe. I just don't think he's particularly interested in leaving. And in many ways, I think he views himself as a pretty good fit for Iowa State. And I think he has some NFL aspirations, and he's willing to be patient and wait for an opportunity like that if it comes. And if it doesn't come, he's one of those people who's perfectly happy.
Yeah. Raimi got yours now. It says the only leverage Ole Miss has over Lane is the college football playoffs. He's leaving. Can we get him to pay a few million to coach? If he refuses, we put it out that he was given an option but refused. I don't really know what you mean. Explain the question. I mean, look, he knows he's not going to be able to coach the playoffs at this point. I mean, it's just period. I don't even think that's in debate. He wanted to. It was part of the game, for sure. But it's just not where we are here. That's not what's going on. Lane's not going to pay money to stay with this team. He will either coach his team or leave his team based off this. So yeah, that's 100% where we are. Let's see. Marine Rebel, how many players do you think would follow Benedict Kiffin to LSU? Way too early for that conversation, but I do appreciate the super chat. Look, some coaches and players are going to go. It's the way it works with every coaching search, every staff change. So if Kiffin goes to LSU, yeah, there will be people go. It just is what it is. I have some opinions. I mean, I think it's pretty clear that Winston Watkins would be a very much prominent one to watch there. But that's probably as far as I'm willing to go.
I mean, Kewan Lacey.
Yeah.
There's some others. I mean, look, Ole Miss is going to have to work, but they were going to have to work anyway. I mean, guys were. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't think the two of us do it, and I think we try to. I don't think we do a good enough job of explaining to you what the tampering portal looks like for every school, just in general. It's nuts. Yes. Every school. I saw where DJ Durkin was talking about how what he saw at Auburn last week in the portal was just unbelievable, and people made fun of him. And I'm like, why are y'all making fun of him? He's telling you the truth. You want the truth, and then someone gives you the truth, and it's like the scene in the thing, you can't handle the truth. And it's bad. Ole Miss tampers, and Ole Miss is tampered with. And that applies to name your school: Purdue, Iowa, Cal, Arizona State, everyone. Everyone's tampered with.
Country Music Rep, thanks for your super chat. It says, I think given the current replacement options, we should promote CWJ, Charlie Weiss Jr., to interim for 2026. Judge would be your interim in a playoff situation. He's been the NFL head coach. Yeah.
Oh, he meant for next season. No, you don't want an interim next season. Come on.
You're not going to throw a year away.
No.
You're going to coach. You're going to find a coach.
Thank you for the super chat. Oxford Rebel 38655. Thoughts on the PR stunt this morning on game day and across Twitter this morning. I thought it was deplorable. Honestly, I thought some people lost their credibility, at least for a long time. I thought for Nick Saban that was as hypocritical of a comment as someone of his stature could possibly make. There's not a chance in hell that he truly believes what he said. It's not difficult to put the pieces together as to who orchestrated that. It's wild to think that that organization has that much power over an entire network, but it does show you how intertwined all of these things are. I thought it was gross. I thought it was reprehensible. I thought it was pathetic. I thought it was sort of disgusting. No, there's no way those people actually believe that. And this is not about Lane. This is not about Lane Kiffin at all. Not about Lane Kiffin, the person. Not in the least. But there's not many programs that would say, yes, we're going to allow a rival coach. And the moment that Lane Kiffin accepts the job at LSU, he is the LSU coach. That moment. The moment that that happens, he can't be in your building working with your players who are all becoming free agents no later than January the 2nd. Or in a world where Ole Miss went into the semifinals immediately following a loss or the national championship game. Every player on the Ole Miss team at some point in January is a potential free agent. So you can't have a rival coach, and that's what Lane Kiffin would become, in your building around your players at meetings, practice, meals, travel. It's just not, nobody would sign up for that. You would never do that in banking. Like, if you work in banking, if you take another job at a rival bank, they don't kill you when you tell them, but they tell you need to get your stuff and leave, often with a security escort. You can't have access to everything. It just doesn't work like that. And again, it's not about Lane personally at all. Just fact. And Nick Saban knows that. That's obscene. That was bad today. I mean, it was really bad. But it shows you the loyalty that is that agency, my opinion.
No, it's Jimmy flexing muscle. The agency flexing muscle.
CAA, as a whole, and there's a lot of that ESPN talent that is represented by CAA. Kirk Herbstreit, Nick Saban. I don't know about the others. They do more than football coaches.
Somebody said in the chat that Matt Moscona said he could be hearing news within the next hour. Matt's pretty tied in today, so I would pay attention to some extent as we move through today, for sure.
Yeah, Matt's really sharp on this one, y'all. I know everybody wants to do the Homer thing and all that. Whatever. Do what you want to do. I'm just telling you, he's incredibly sourced with LSU on this.
Yeah. A Toller, thank you.
For the record,
says, go ahead.
For the record, because I got to push back on this. I get this a little bit. Yes, I do talk to Matt. Matt is far from the only person with LSU ties that I talk to. And I'm not talking about media, but people. I literally know the father of one of the players. I mean, there's a list of contacts that we have there.
Hey, Toller, is it fair to say that Ole Miss, with the appeal of the Ole Miss job, now we would draw some interest from good coaches that aren't currently on the radar? I mean, Ole Miss has been running the search for weeks. I don't expect a lot of pop-up candidates all of a sudden. I just don't. They've taken some swings. Guys have re-upped. Some guys don't want to move. Like I saw Kenny Dillingham mention earlier. He's very happy in Tempe. His wife's, I think, due next month, 2 months away. Doesn't want to shift her at this point. Just is what it is sometimes. So, yeah, I don't anticipate that. Let's see. Has Lane dragged this out to hurt Ole Miss, soon to be a competitor, or is it solely because he can't decide?
No, he wants to coach the playoffs.
He wants to coach, yes.
I've been trying to tell everybody this. He wants to coach the playoffs. He desperately wants to coach the playoffs. Now, not enough to turn down the LSU opportunity, apparently, but he desperately wants to coach the playoffs. He believes that he gives this team its best chance to win a national championship with him on the sideline. That's what he believes. You know, you can judge that in whatever way you want to. That's what he believes. He believes it. I believe he believes it to his absolute core of his soul.
Yes. Jack, thank you for the Venmo chat. Appreciate you. Is Joe Judge a head coaching candidate? Option, interim tag aside, has he been considered for the job? Should it come open? Pros and cons. I think they will have a coach before Joe would be able to show any kind of momentum. Because, like, you would have to let this thing sit and him start going on some playoff run or something like that. But I fully expect Ole Miss to have a coach long before that would be a realistic option. I do think Joe would like to stay. To whatever capacity that means. But beyond that, no, I don't anticipate that. A little bit. The only other news, I guess, while we're running through some of this is Neil had reported this morning, and then I sort of followed up on it as well. We both had talked to people regarding Alex Golish from South Florida. Has gone a long way down with Arkansas, but Arkansas doesn't seem to have the leverage advantage that Florida does with Sumrall at this point. So he is kind of camped out, hasn't signed anything, and appears that at least to this point, he is not bound to anyone should other opportunities arise. So there is that.
Yeah, I will. Hey, Chase, I can add a little to that. I've gathered from just talking to some people that cover Arkansas today that there's a little bit of almost panic on their part here. Not panic, that's not the right word. Concern that they're not going to be able to get to the finish line with Golish. I don't know if that's just Ole Miss, if it's Auburn also. Auburn's been mentioned with him as well. But I get a sense from just talking to some media friends that I have that cover the Razorbacks that that they've lost momentum with him. In fact, I don't know that they've had momentum since maybe early Thanksgiving Day.
I think that is more than fair. Brian, thanks for the super chat. You guys are doing a better job than AU's beat covering the Tigers. Would you mind giving your latest intel on Auburn?
Yeah, I think DJ Durkin can win the job tonight, even with a strong showing. I think, as usual, Auburn's kind of arrogance gets in their way. And I know I've pissed a lot of people off. I think I've lost friends for saying that, multiple. But it's true. I think I would make DJ Durkin the betting favorite right now.
Okay. Does he have to win?
No, he doesn't have to win.
Okay.
I think he has to just play really well and play really hard. And I think the Eagle needs to fly well. And they're going to have a great atmosphere there tonight. I mean, I make fun of Auburn a lot, but their atmosphere at night is elite. It's awesome, frankly. Their fans are loud. It'll be packed. That game has a special environment to it. It just does. It's cool. Tyler's been in the stream. I've seen him in there. He would vouch for this. It is a special environment. It's really unique. It will be impactful tonight, and if Auburn can stay in the game early, that game is going to get interesting. And as that game gets interesting, all the pressure is on Alabama.
Yes.
And at night at Jordan-Hare and Iron Bowl, with Auburn having a chance to knock Alabama out, with DJ Durkin coaching for a chance to win that job, is a lot. There's a lot going in the Tigers' favor.
Yeah, I'm seeing the things about Moscona and Golding. I mean, look, Golding might need a job, so going with Lane is not completely off the table. But he wants to stay in Oxford. If the new coach wants him, he will be here. That is a guarantee.
Yeah, I'm going to be careful with how I say this because I don't want to violate sources. I agree with you. I think ultimately Pete Golding will stay at Ole Miss. I don't think there's much debate there. I understand, however, why Matt feels the way that he feels about that. He's not making it up. He's not making an assumption. There is something to it. It won't come to fruition, but I do know where he gets what he's – I do understand why he thinks that. And it's beyond Pete being from Hammond.
Oh, I kind of forgot that part. Yeah, that's right. Michael, thank you. Says Venmo'd y'all $50 for Uber money for Neal. Yeah, he had to get back home, so appreciates that. That covered like half the trip. So
About a little less than half, but that's
there you
very.
go.
I'm very appreciative. Thank you very much. That's very kind.
Marine Rebel again wants to coach the playoff and sign the extension. There's no other option. That is true. That is the only way to coach the playoff for Lane Kiffin. Uh, then Kyle, thank you again. If DeBoer left, would Saban be interim coach? No, 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 no.
Oh,
Hard pass. All
yeah.
right, let's see. Thomas,
I think.
Michael, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say if I don't know who would be. I guess they would promote Grubb, although I think Grubb would go with DeBoer if he left, unless Grubb could get the Washington job. I think Kane Womack is very much back in the defensive coordinator at Alabama. I think he's very much back in the mix at Arkansas, and I believe it's safe to say that Kane wants the job in Fayetteville and would take it. So there's a world where that staff looks really different. I mean, if Alabama were to lose tonight, that staff's got a real chance of looking really different in a bowl game. God, I can't even imagine one of those bowl games. Like, dear God.
Yeah, I know. Real quick, Jake, thank you. Your Venmo chat came through. Good to see you. Says, do you anticipate Golish as the guy? And what you think is most likely past him? Golish is a guy. I'm not ready to go there, but look, I mean, it's one that's linked that he wants the Ole Miss job and that has been on our heartboard from the beginning. So I mean, it's someone to pay attention to as time goes on, especially because, like what we're saying, Arkansas was not able to force him into a decision. They have other candidates, Kane
Yeah.
obviously being a primary one, so that's the
Yeah.
reasoning for some of those things. Let's see. Timeline from LK decision this afternoon to our hire leaking. I mean, it depends who it is. I mean, it could be very fast. Again, Ole Miss has been doing this for a while. This is not like they're going to suddenly fire up the search engine tonight. So, I mean, you know, I will be a little surprised if Ole Miss does not have a coach in the next like 5 days.
Yeah.
I think that's right, and
That's
maybe
a
way earlier than that.
yeah. I was going to say I probably would go. I can name that tune in less than 5 notes.
There you go. There you go. You seen the guy? You don't follow it as well, and probably whatever. He got in my algorithm, and I can't turn it away. There's this guy in Knoxville. We have some Tennessee people here. Does country music songs where he listens to 1 second of it and can name it like 90% of the time
Oh wow,
off 1 second.
that's impressive.
I mean, I get some of them. I'll kind of play along or whatever, and I'll get some, but not to the level that this cat is. He's
Trying to
pretty
think
impressive.
what artist I could do that with. Prince probably. Ludacris.
Not just an entire 10 years of genre though.
Yeah, no. I mean, Ludacris, I could pull it off. Come on, that's funny.
It was funny.
I can't even get you to
Not
remember.
Project Pat, Ludacris. Sorry, I was reading the Venmo. Siski was replying, so I was trying to see. He said he had coarse products and meat if we need an escape. So I was reading through it. That's all I got. Okay, can't help it. That's where we were. You were funny. You were funny. That was good. Michael, thank you. Again, let's see. Robinson, if you have a question, go ahead and let me know. Glad to see you as well. No, it was good. Sorry, my mind was just not there. I mean, my mind had sort of lost that. JBL, thank you. Super chat. Does Joyner go with Kiffin to LSU? What are other candidates someone was looking at? Also, does the GM go with Kiffin? I can't. I'm not overly sourced, but I would assume that Glasscock goes with Kiffin.
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah, my mind would be there. Where'd you get your hat yesterday? You got a ton of props on your hood.
I bought that hat in Maine.
Oh, did you?
I did. Bought it in Portland, Maine. I did. I went in and I was goofing around with Laura and I were goofing around and I put it on and she's like, it looks good. And I was like, no, it doesn't. She goes, it looks good. I said, I'd never wear it. She goes, well, you should. And so she sent a picture to the girls, and both of the girls said they loved it, and so I bought it. There you go. And I wore it yesterday, and you know what? It was warm, and I know I've taken a lot of heat for it, and people have made fun of me, and in a playful way, and I found it funny, but I actually enjoyed the hat. So I will probably wear it again on a cold day. I liked it.
Hayden, thank you.
And people made fun of my wool jacket. That wool jacket was
needed yesterday. Yeah. No.
Total game changer for me yesterday. And so I'll be honest, I kind of liked the way that it looked. I liked the way that it felt, and I'm not trying to impress anybody, and I'm just being myself. And so there you go.
Hayden, thank you. One of our resident Auburn guys, 1.4K, the little podcast that could. It's way more than that. We're actually all platforms, 9,912 right now online is what we're clocking at the moment, best I can tell. Speaking of where you were going, making the joke there, that was incredible. I let you down. Was that same radio station that has the guy that does the 1 second thing? Since it's out of Knoxville, I run into my algorithm they do 1 minute with Mike Keith every week, the Tennessee play-by-play announcer, and he is quite entertaining. He's fun. I like him. He's got used to be the Titans, right? And he talked about he was asked what is the one artist that you could sing every word to their songs, and he said Ludacris. And you would not think Mike Keith of all people would have gone Ludacris with his answer. Just a little heads up there. Tyler, thank you. Says Venmo, thanks for all both of you do. And Siski, fantastic coverage. Good to see you guys. A lot of Auburn. We have a big Auburn contingent. Appreciate all you guys. As much as sometimes we give you hell, enjoy you guys hanging out with us every single day. See Grind hanging out here this day as well. So anyway, you running into problems over there?
No, someone is giving. I'm doing two things. I'm having a conversation with a coach, and I'm having a conversation with someone who's on the 7th floor of the Memphis airport right now, giving me an update on my truck.
Oh, is it there?
It's there. It's not current.
Is it able to be moved?
It would be able to be moved, but I could go forward right now. The person is telling me that he understands now how I was completely stuck. He goes, "Oh yeah!" Exclamation point. I apologize for being distracted. I know that's
no,
not
you're
good.
Fine. You're good. No.
I'm having a conversation with a coach. I was having a conversation with a media member, and I'm having a conversation with someone who's kind enough to be looking for my truck. So it sucks. I apologize. You all deserve better. Forgive me.
Oh, that's a good question. We're getting ahead of ourselves here. Hannah, thank you for the Venmo chat. Appreciate you very much. Good to see you. If you had to put an order to the candidates, it would be 1, 2, 3. We're really early. Golish is 1.
Alex Golish would be number 1 for sure
because he's the known quantity we have. Brent Key 2.
Oh, okay. It makes sense. I am told Brent Key wants out of Georgia Tech. Unlike Clark Lee, who was looking for some leverage and really.
And I'm going to go, and the buyout is a detriment, but I'm going to go Rhett Lashley 3.
Yeah, I was going to say Rhett Lashley 2, but that buyout's a real problem. And then, yeah, okay, I'll go Brent Key. Sure.
Okay. Siski says in the stream, I trust Keith and Boyce in coaching searches. They deserve trust until they prove otherwise. So far, batting 1,000. Yeah, Keith. Look, they've been put into a really unenviable situation here because people keep saying, "Well, do this, do that." From an HR standpoint, you can't hire a new coach until the other coach is no longer on your books. So they have a football coach. This is an unprecedented situation that everybody is in right now. It just is. It sucks for everyone. Really does. It sucks for everybody. So.
Yeah, I have a lot of thoughts here, and I'll be quick because it's not what people want.
I have not heard Ryan Silverfield at all in this job search.
No, I've not heard his name at all. In fact, I'll just tell you, it won't be Ryan Silverfield.
Okay.
Yes, it sucks. Yes, the timing sucks. Yes, the calendar sucks. However, all of the parties involved in this knew of this calendar. The calendar sucking is not a revelation. It is not a new thing. The calendar that is in place today was in place in the middle of October when this started. I believed at the time that if Ole Miss beat Oklahoma, it was going to make the playoffs and that would basically put an end to this. I was right about the beating Oklahoma and you'd make the playoffs part. I was apparently wrong about the putting an end to this part. I thought that at the end of the day, Lane Kiffin would not be able to walk away from a playoff team. And I guess I could still end up getting that part right. It doesn't look like it. It looks like he has made a decision that he views the LSU job as simply, I think he views the LSU job as one in which if he looks up in 2 years and someone is at LSU winning big and he is not at Ole Miss, and a lot of the family stuff that is here now would no longer be here, I think he's afraid that he would have this is me putting words into his mouth. He has not said this. I think he views that scenario as one where he would have a level of regret that would be difficult to live with. Mm-hmm. Whether you agree with that or disagree with that is completely up to you and your prerogative. I have incredibly mixed emotions about it. I cannot. I like Lane. Okay, I like Lane Kiffin. I do. He's been fun to cover. He's been interesting to cover. He's been fair. I can't say that about all of his predecessors at Ole Miss. I can say it about, in fact, one of his predecessors at Ole Miss. Matt Luke was fair. Hugh wasn't. Houston wasn't. He was fair to us. He acknowledged, I think, that we were a market leader. Probably the first Ole Miss football coach that I've covered who has acknowledged that. So I have a lot of positive feelings for Lane. I hope for Lane that he doesn't look back on this and regret this decision with every fiber in his being. It's if he goes through with this, I think this is going to hang over him for a long time, and I hope that he's able to make peace with it. I do. I know a lot of people will hate him. I'm not going to hate him. I understand why you all will. I'm not going to. I don't have those feelings. I like the man. I think this has been a stunningly difficult decision for him. I look back on a couple of things that have happened, and I think I know why those things happened. And I think he really wanted two things at the same time and realized that he couldn't have them. And I think it's been hard. And
yeah, that's the problem, is just the way he's handled it. It's not even somebody going, you don't owe you anything for life or anything like that. He's just handled it poorly. He's trolled, whether he will admit that or not. He sends people to Baton Rouge and Gainesville. Like, it was just, again, you could have hidden these things. There was a reckless disregard for his actual constituents that has caused this problem.
Once, and I might be able to say this later today. I'm going to wait until he's actually done it to express an opinion, because I don't know it to be true. I believe it to be true, but I'll wait. And I would say it to him, but I don't want to say it today because I don't, or at this very moment, because it hasn't happened. I think I think the postmortem on this, when people kind of give the TikTok on this, if you will, it's sort of a journalism term for like how things fell chronologically. I think a lot of things will become illuminated as to why things happen when they happen, why things were said when they were said. And I think there will be some regret on his part for some of the way that this was handled. And frankly, I think his agency has let him down. I do. I think they failed him. Not only with not by the decision that they chose, but by the way in which the decision played out. I think their agency failed them. I think there's some media people who are culpable. I don't want to name names because I just don't. I hope people respect that. But it's not been the best look in the world, and it's a really bad look. It's a really bad look that, to be honest, that here's a team that's 11-1. I mean, your point, Chase, a moment ago. Can I expound on it for a second?
Sure.
This is a team that is 2 things away from being probably the number 2 seed in the college football playoff. It's a win over. It's an Auburn win over Alabama. That has to happen. That's completely out of your control. And then a win over Georgia in Atlanta, which would be difficult, obviously. But we've seen the 2 teams play each other. It's doable. Very doable. Georgia would be a favorite, but it wouldn't be a prohibitive favorite. If you were to get those 2 things, Auburn beating Alabama at home, and then Ole Miss beating Georgia in the SEC title game, Ole Miss would probably be the 2 seed going into the essentially NCAA tournament. Is that fair? No lower than 3. Yes. You'd be a 12-1 SEC champion. Your 1 loss at Georgia, totally respectable, et cetera. Your 1 loss would be to the team that would be either probably the 4 or the 5 seed in the tournament. You would be in the Sugar Bowl January the 1st playing the winner of the 7-10 game, whoever the hell that is. I don't know. Alabama and somebody. Texas Tech or Oregon or somebody. You'd be in a national quarterfinal game. It's an Elite 8 game. It's the College World Series. That's the rarefied air you're in. And to think that a program has gotten to that place and a coach could walk away from it to go to a rival program is, frankly, I told a friend today, I think we're underestimating. I'll tell you what I told Matt Moscona. We were talking just this morning, just chatting about how crazy the story is. And I said, this is one of those stories that I don't think we realize how big it is. I don't think we realize how seismic this is because we're in the forest, and so all we see is the trees. If we could get up 30,000 feet, we'd look down and go, wow, look at that forest.
I don't think Sexton represents Golish. I don't think that's right. I think it's the same guy that Sumrall has.
I think that's correct.
Pretty sure.
Yeah, I think that's correct.
Strolling through the chat real quick because we're kind of through the main news. Caitlin says, I do think last night in the presser he looked a little regretful for the first time since it started. I thought that for the most part, outside of the Ben thing, he was pretty honest yesterday afternoon.
I thought so too. He made eye contact with people. His eyes were soft except with one person. He was thoughtful. Again, I'm not saying people should feel sorry for Lane at all. But I understood what he was saying. I mean, I do have empathy for the situation he's in. I think he is making a mistake. I've already written that. I've said it. I'll say it again. I would tell him that. I have empathy for him in that the timing sucks. I believe the sport sucks. That they've got to fix this. I think this is bad for the sport. That's my opinion.
It would suck for everybody involved. But had he just not, I mean, there's 10 things that he'd not done publicly that were so dumb in the moment, assuming he leaves, that you would have way more empathy and go, hey, how does somebody leave with this media circus rigmarole that's going on? It's just that he loses so much of that ability to get that benefit of the doubt because of the way you handle it in the moment. That's the problem, is we're having this conversation. By the way, yeah, Clint Dowdle represents Drinkwitz, Golish, and Sumrall. So
good day to be him.
His kids are going to have a nice holiday.
Good for you, Clint. Congrats.
Yeah.
If
Gonna.
I'm Ole Miss, it's a long time. If I can help it, it's a long time before I have another CAA client in that office.
Yeah. No. Seriously. Because look,
I,
here's the truth.
I probably
I
just
mean,
burned a big saying that, but I mean it.
I want to pick the right word, but they've steered here. Call it what you want. They've steered to
Yeah.
LSU on Lane Kiffin, no matter how it looks.
Now at the
Or
end of the
sorry,
day,
no matter what ends up happening.
at the end of the day, it's Lane's decision. And so that's why I always push back on the complete blame of CAA. It's like, no, it's just inaccurate. But yes, they're steering here for sure. Absolutely. That is, I mean, again, I'm going to finish the point. It's a hell of a bad look for the sport. It's a terrible look for the sport, Chase. It just is. An interim coach coaching a playoff game for an SEC team that's 11-1.
Mm-hmm.
Where the coach is perfectly healthy. It's not a health thing. It's a terrible look. There's no scandal. He wasn't arrested. It's a terrible look for the sport. I know a lot of people don't like it when anyone says something's bad for college football because they love it so much. This is a terrible look for the sport. It is a shame for Ole Miss people that so many of you have looked forward to a season like this one. You guys finally got one that should be nothing but a celebration. And instead it's this. Perfect. There's a fix to the calendar. Everyone knows what the fix to the calendar is, and nobody wants to do it because everyone is afraid of, well, if we admit the quiet part out loud, these same people won't keep spending the kind of money that they spend to come to our games and support our programs and our NIL and to buy football players who are mercenaries for the most part. I mean, I'm just being real right now. It's a terrible look.
Ole Miss had better rosters than Florida the last few years. They spent more money than Florida the last few years.
Florida
They spent more money
sucks.
than LSU. Florida, yes, they suck all the way around. You people
Florida
suck.
in the last 5 years, Chase, has won, and the last 5 years is the current environment. Take out 2020 because of COVID, and before that, the rules were different. 2021 to today is the current era. Florida has won fewer games in that era than Kentucky and Arkansas. Would anyone in their right mind describe Arkansas or Kentucky as successful programs in this era? The answer is no. And they've won more games than Florida. Florida sucks.
Well, I think, like I said, everything we're hearing is that it's done or will be done very shortly. But if I'm Sumrall, I'm a little concerned about the hatred over there right now. They're doing protests to run Strickland off. They hate him because he's not Lane. I
and
mean,
they're
oh
not giving.
boy.
You people are lucky to get John Sumrall if you get him. Okay, you're
Yeah.
fortunate. I mean, literally, Santa Claus is bringing you an early present. But you all are the most dense, moronic, out of touch people on the face of the planet. No one cares about you anymore. You've got a cool brand. It looks cool. No one gives a damn. You're winning in basketball. Your baseball coach is no one cares about the other stuff, and your football program is irrelevant other than two coaches who won everywhere they've ever been. And one
you
still
employ
hangs around
Kevin O'Sullivan.
And one still hangs around the program critiquing it.
Yes.
Which is a problem. You all think it's cute, and everybody there thought Lane Kiffin was going to come there and be the next Steve Spurrier. Lane Kiffin is a brilliant football coach. He is an amazing offensive mind. He does not have any personality, anything similar to Steve Spurrier's. And LSU, if y'all expect Lane Kiffin to come down there and be a political person, to come down there and really press the flesh, to throw the beads at Mardi Gras, to go to all the parties, you are in for an absolute rude awakening. Now, Nick Saban didn't do those things, and he had remarkable success at LSU. He also spent the majority of his time at LSU contemplating getting out. This will be if he goes to LSU, and I believe it's imminent, it will be a fascinating experiment.
2 things from Twitter, and then we'll probably get out of here again. I don't know when we'll be back, but that's cool. Peter Burns today. like the talking heads are driving me insane. Even the ones that are sort of pro Ole Miss in some ways. Peter Burns today. Both Lane and Ole Miss would be wise to table any decision until tomorrow at the earliest. See what happens in the Iron Bowl and if Ole Miss qualifies for the championship. I understand wanting an answer before signing day, but look, there's little harm in waiting till Sunday. Except for everybody else is hiring coaches, Peter. What are we doing?
Hey, Peter, anybody home?
I mean,
but he's the same guy. He got pissed off at me years ago when they got me on the show. It was Houston Nutt, Ole Miss versus Nick Saban, Alabama.
Oh, that's right.
You remember this? And they like want me to do the show, and so I finally reluctantly agreed to do the show. Little inside baseball. In the past, Ole Miss has asked me to do a lot of the SEC network kind of hits, Paul Feinbaum and those kind of people, and I respect that they've wanted me to do it. I have politely declined. I don't think anyone at Ole Miss Kyle and those people would mind me saying this. It's true. It's not I'm not violating confidence. I have very politely declined 95% of the time. And on this day, I agreed to do it. I don't know why. I'll never forget exactly where I was. You know that the coffee shop on the square we used across from Jeffrey's place?
Yeah,
I walked out
uptown, Heartbreak, whatever it's called now.
Yeah, the Growler, all that stuff. I walked into that little breezeway to do the interview, and he's like, give me a scenario where Ole Miss beats Alabama tomorrow. And I said, there's not one. There's not one. And he said, what do you mean? Come on. I said, no, I'm not going to play the game. There is no scenario where Ole Miss beats Alabama tomorrow. There's simply not one. It's not going to happen. It will not be a competitive game. Well, now I'm not being the company man. Well, you didn't. I'm not being paid. I'm not going to be a company man. You knew what you were getting when you got me on your show, and he's getting angry at me. And I said, I mean, I'll play along. I mean, I guess if like most of the Alabama players don't come, and the ones that do all have like some severe intestinal issue, maybe it would be a competitive game. I mean, this is a bad Ole Miss team. It's going nowhere. Everyone knows it. This is 2011. It's not going anywhere. This is not happening. And I got word that they said we'll never invite that guy back. No, that's fine. I don't care. I don't need it. But that's him. I mean, we're talking about this is ESPN, SEC Network, everybody marching orders today.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there were a couple people that didn't do it.
Pat
McAfee didn't do it. Joel Klatt on Big Ten Show didn't do it. The Big Ten Show's a better show than Game Day, everybody. I hate to break it to you, but it is. Game Day sucks. I mean, I think people are finally coming around to it. The show's bad. The kicking thing is kind of funny. Every once in a while they do a feature that's pretty compelling. But for the most part, if you want a better football show, the Big Ten show's the Fox show's better. Mm-hmm. It is. It's a better show. Joel Klatt's right. I mean, it's the part that no one other than us is kind of saying. I'll give Klatt credit. He did it today. I'm leaving Ole Miss because it's easier to win championships at somewhere else. Dude, you're in the playoffs. You're a win away from the quarter. You might not even be a win away. You might be 2 wins, one that you can't control, away from being the 2 seed. Mm-hmm. 2 seeds win 12-team tournaments all the time.
Because hell, it's an 8-team tournament. You don't even play the first round.
Yeah, I mean, so
by the time you come in,
how often does the 2 seed win in Omaha? Probably decent amount. I mean, pretty competitive.
More than the 1, actually.
But you get my point, right? I mean, you're there. You got a shot. I mean, not everybody. I mean, it's going to be some luck and stuff, but it's hard to win a championship. But you're there. You've done it.
Yeah.
2
things. Stacy, thank you. Love seeing you every day in the stream. Appreciate you as always. Says, is Lashley a real possibility? He would be a home run, pay whatever it takes if he wants the job, and he would get lots of DFW players, hotbed of talent. It's just expensive, and he really likes it there. For Rhett Lashley, it's what is he seeing in the ACC? SMU, look, if they want to commit all their resources, he can run that thing a little bit. Now, it's a shit league, but it's there, and then it's expensive. Do you
And
do
he's
you do you
young.
do you go
He's
there?
he's going to have opportunities down the road. He signed the extension. His family's really happy. I mean, being rich in Highland Park is probably a pretty fun life. Um,
Doesn't suck.
I'm probably doesn't suck, and
Yeah.
you don't have the pressure at SMU that you have at an SEC school. You know, he's from Springdale, Arkansas. I know Arkansas kind of went after him, I think, and really to no avail. And I know people go, well, the Arkansas job sucks, other jobs, yeah, but he's pretty happy where he is, like to the point where I think he's going to be really picky for a little while. And look, I'll say the out loud part. Do you really want to be the coach that replaces Lane Kiffin? You better really believe in yourself. You better really have it going. It's going to be hard to match what Lane Kiffin's doing. Because for all the knocks on Lane, 50 wins in 5 years. 50 wins in 5 years. Look at the list of schools that have done that. It's an elite list. It's 6 of them. So, I think that's part. I do think that's something that different people think about. There's different ways to look at it. One way to look at it, and I think it's the way that ultimately the coaches will look at it, is they've got it going there. They have program synergy. The fans will never be more motivated. This is going to motivate Ole Miss fans in a way that maybe nothing has in a long time.
Ole Miss,
And
LSU, and Oxford next season.
God,
I know. Well, right here again, assuming Lane is leaving, if he's not staying, even this, I mean, he's tweeting on behalf of his dog today. His dog can't tweet, so it is Lane tweeting. A picture of the SEC championship field with Ole Miss and Georgia in the end zones. I'm not trying to get ahead of myself, but I'm wondering if dogs are allowed here, adding Lane Kiffin from the Juice Kiffin account. It's like
yeah,
we're politicking on social media at this point. They need this meeting at 3 to get here and get this the hell over with.
I mean, if I'm an Ole Miss fan tonight, I am really cheering for Alabama. I know you want to play in the game. I'm roll tiding tonight.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I am. I think the optics either way next week, if Ole Miss is playing in the SEC championship game, are really awkward. Unless Lane signs an extension today, which at this point would shock me beyond words. Because if you were going to sign an extension, you would have just done it.
Yeah.
I have it on authority that LSU was worried yesterday that Lane would get emotional and basically end it yesterday. And that clearly didn't happen.
Happened. Yeah. All right. I expect news later on today. We'll at least the first part of this. Hopefully, it all comes out. We're all ready for it to be done. So I don't know. Sometime maybe early evening. I'm hoping for some resolutions. Look, hell, maybe it leaks at any point. I don't know, but maybe that's where we are. We'll continue to be on it. Rebels 24/7. In the meantime, as we do that, but huge crowd today. Appreciate you guys coming in and hanging out, commiserating all your ways that you interact and engage with us. We appreciate that. So we're going to transition back over to the message board now. Again, rebels247.com, 75% off right now through Monday. You can take advantage of that if you have not taken the plunge with us yet, and then we'll be back online at some point. We'll see where the situation goes. So take care. We'll talk to you soon.